Welcome back to another video, guys. This is one that I've been kind of excited about. Today we're going to talk about how to run a fantasy football league like a boss. This is for people who want to start their own league or who are already running a league and want to make sure that they have all their ducks in a row and that they are making sure that their league is the best possible fantasy football league that it could potentially be. We are here to make fantasy football great again, guys.
Fantasy, football, fantasy. If you like football and you like fantasy, fantasy, football, fantasy.
Right out of the gate, I want to go over 5 things that will destroy a fantasy football league. 1, people are not going to pay their entry fees. 2, people will try to cheat, mainly colluding with other people in the league. 3, people are going to argue with each other and complain to you about stuff you don't even care about and probably has no influence on the league. 4, people are going to threaten to quit if X doesn't happen, and X can be whatever they think should happen in the league, that they should get an extra bench slot or there should be a extra flex position. And then 5, people will lose interest and give up, causing a competitive imbalance in the entire league until eventually everything crumbles. I want to read you an email from a commissioner that I remember seeing back in the day on Deadspin, so I had to Google this and kind of find it buried under all the internet stories and blogs and stuff since then, but I think that it perfectly encapsulates the struggles of running a fantasy football league, even if it is with a group of friends or coworkers that you usually really get along with. Now, this letter is from Alex, and he sent this on Thanksgiving to all of the members in his fantasy football league via email. When I first started this league, I thought it was going to be a blast. I invited 11 of my friends to play fantasy football with me, an activity I quite enjoyed. That is no longer the case. Over the last 13 weeks or so, I have endured a myriad of unforeseen and utterly preventable problems. The list includes 3 attempted briberies, 2 calls for my resignation, 1 call for my impeachment, 3 separate people questioning my friendship and integrity, countless of you coming to my work and playing about the league, and 1 obvious count of collusion. This all reached a boiling point over this last week when 2 of our owners contrived a plan in order to improve one team via a lopsided trade just so the other owner could get into the trade pool. When I asked the 2 about the trade, they told me that if I did not put the trade through, they wanted their money back. As I had not received any complaints from other owners, I allowed the trade. After that, however, I received a slew of complaints from the other owners. I'm going to reverse this trade. That decision is final. Now, before all of you get up in arms, I would like to remind you of one very important point. This is just fantasy football. We are playing for $300, which is nothing to sneeze at, but come on, is it really important enough to cheat out your friends and colleagues? I must be the poorest and youngest of all of you, and I make that in 2 days' work. You people are all out of your f***ing minds. I cannot explain how utterly miserable this year of fantasy football has been. I considered all of you to be friends and people that I cared about, but apparently the lure of $300 is too great and nothing like friendship or decency could get in the way. Needless to say, this will be my first and last year as your commissioner. I will be withdrawing my name from the trade pool. As the playoffs is starting next week, there will be no more trades. I have drawn for the pool, and Ike, you win. Congratulations. I would also like to use this time to let those of you who care know that I will not be in the golf league next year. I'm sure you're all broken up about this. If anyone has any questions or complaints, go ahead and write them on a piece of paper, find a nice envelope, and shove it up your ass. Best of luck in the playoffs. Happy Thanksgiving, Alex. Man, I absolutely love that, and it still makes me laugh to this day. I think I've probably read this 15 or 20 times, but enough of that. Let's actually get into what makes a league great and how to make sure that you are doing everything that you can to make sure that your league is great and enjoyable for everybody so that you don't run into the same problems that Alex ran into. And the first one is going to be integrity. It sounds cheesy, but everything that you need to do needs to be for the good of the league. Not everything you do in life, but everything you do based around changes or the structure of the league or management overall. It sounds like a joke, but you'll quickly find out how hard it is to be the guy that swings the sword.
The man who passes the sentence should swing the sword.
You want the league to be fun and for the settings and scoring to be simple enough for eventual newcomers to understand, but advanced enough to keep everybody engaged and interested.
It's a football fantasy like no other.
Up next, we have the league members. A great league has got 10 or 12 teams. Tried a 20-team league. It's awful. I'm in an 8-man team league, and teams are just too deep. I'm the reigning champ in that league, by the way. Another thing is that you want to make sure that you have an assistant commissioner. This is important, and you'll see why as we move forward here. Just Just find someone that can be trusted to have admin capabilities, but won't mess around with them unless instructed to do so. Can't tell me how many times that you'll be away from your computer and you need something done immediately, and you don't have time to get to a computer before the early game kickoff on Sundays, or just something unexpected could happen, or just overall organizational process, and just having somebody that can sort of follow behind you with a dustpan and clean up your messes as you go along. Next up, you want to set up a group chat. This way everyone can participate in the league setup and potential changes being made in the future. A group text message will work, but there's a lot of great apps and programs out there that just really take this stuff to the next level, like GroupMe, Discord, Slack. Just find something that works for you guys as a group. And then the most important reason to have a group chat is the trash talk. This is easily the most important part of a fantasy football league. Even before setting anything up, it's nice to have a group chat just to sort of weed out the scrubs and the guys that are a little too sensitive to have their manhood questioned over who they picked first in a fantasy football draft. You're going to want to determine the level of savagery early based on the crew in the league, you guys' background. Obviously, you don't want to destroy your boss in a group chat and get fired over some fantasy ball.
They changed the Wi-Fi to who is the worst ever at fantasy?
Yes, we did, Doug. And the password is Doug.
All right, and now I want to plug something that I'm going to be trying to do this football season that I think if you're watching this video, probably be interested in. And this announcement is that I'm going to be starting a few fantasy football leagues this year, and I really want you to be a part of it. I want these leagues, and there's going to be quite a few of them, but I want them to last for years. I want this to be the league that you set your lineup in first each week, because it's going to be that serious. Real quick, if you want to skip ahead, but you want to hear the gist of it, this may end up being the greatest thing that I've ever done on the internet, but it's also going to be the most complicated, in-depth, so I will go into a little bit more detail here because I want you to be an active member of helping me plan this thing out and participating in it as much as possible. The number of leagues that I create is going to be based around how many people are interested in playing. If only 10 people are interested in playing, we'll have one league. If 100 people are interested in playing, we'll have 9, maybe 10 leagues. I want to build these leagues around this awesome community on YouTube. There's going to be a wide range of what style fantasy football leagues we do, so you could potentially participate in whichever one's your favorite. PPR, an auction, a dynasty, keeper league. All of these are probably going to be money leagues, but if there's an absurd amount of interest, I might try to accommodate everyone with free leagues that will serve as a waiting list and sort of play-in league. What's going to make these really cool is that I will live stream trash talking sessions and recaps each week. Probably have guests come on to talk trash, update us all in the leagues, stuff like that to make it more interesting. Like I said, I want this to be really, really cool. I almost want this to be like a fantasy football club where we have multiple leagues and you don't have to be in a league to sort of keep up with and know what's going on in another league and kind of root for people and maybe laugh at their choices and just be involved in everybody's trash talking. A lot of this is going to be taking place through my Discord channel. Link for that is in the description. If you're going to be in one of these leagues, I need you to be in the Discord. It's just the way it is. It's going to be the tool that I use to organize all of this stuff, and there's just not a better tool that I'm set up with right now. Now, if you are interested in joining one of these leagues, go ahead and follow that link in the description, and I'm going to create a short questionnaire that I will eventually distribute to everybody. This is going to help me plan how many leagues I need to set up, what kind of leagues are going to be the most popular. I was thinking that I might cap the number of leagues somewhere around 5 to 7, depending on how much work this takes to set up a waiting list and then maybe we have playoff leagues too once the season's over. But if I can get some help, I'm definitely interested in expanding more. Like I said, if 100 people are interested, I will try and accommodate all those people. If we have more than 5 to 7, they might just have to end up being free leagues. But another part of the questionnaire is going to help me find some of you that are willing to help run things if you're interested. Every league needs a co-commissioner, like I said, and if you've got some experience running a fantasy football league, then you might be able to move up the list to get in the league if you're able to help set this whole thing up. Ultimately, this is going to be an awesome and epic fantasy football club, and I'd be really excited if you join me, but if you don't, you're not interested, that's cool too. A long time ago, I made a 20-team league, and it was awful. There were weekly 0 burgers in starting lineups because due to the depth of the league, we were forced to start wide receiver 3s and 4s and backup running backs, guys that didn't even see the field. So I've learned a lot since then. This was a long time ago, and I really think that I am ready to sort of set something up where we're gonna be doing something really cool here. We're gonna have different tiers for the depth of the league. If you want it to be a $5 league, if you want it to be a $10 league, if you have a $20 league, we're gonna have a league to accommodate you. Whether or not we use ESPN or Yahoo is sort of up in the air. That's another thing that we'll be asking in the questionnaire. There's gonna be a unique Discord channel for each league, but yet one big channel for everybody to talk in. into. And then the biggest league is going to be our sort of big money league. We're going to have a live broadcast of the draft. So like I said, there's a lot of moving parts here, guys. I would love some help. I've already got one helper, but I don't know if the two of us can quite manage all of this stuff. Zin, shout out to you, buddy. He is my admin in the Discord channel. If you join the Discord channel, give him a shout out because he's done a lot of hard work to help me get this thing set up. But let's get back to running a great fantasy football league here.
Hey. Yeah.
Back at 'em.
Yeah.
Now that we've got the trash talk and the group set up, let's determine the league structure. And there are three main options. Are you going to run a redraft league? This is the most popular and most common draft. It's one where you can just start fresh every year, and the drafts are always exciting. You've got snake, you've got auction. More than likely, everybody has experience in a redraft league. The other two that are pretty interesting, and for more die-hard players, are Dynasty and Keeper. Dynasty is a long-standing league, and it is going to probably be the closest thing to Madden IRL. You're going to be drafting players for the future rather than the right now. You can trade players, you trade picks. The thing I don't like about this is that member turnover can kind of suck. It's going to be really hard to find a guy that wants to take over a team that was shitty enough for a guy to want to quit, because once you're in a good dynasty league, you don't quit it. I'm actually not in any dynasty leagues right now, and I want to make sure that I make one really good one that I'm a part of in my leagues this year. So hopefully I can find a really good group of guys that will sign up for a dynasty league with me for the long haul. And then Keeper League, this is my favorite personally. It's the best of both redraft and dynasty. You get to retain or keep 1 to 5 players from your previous roster. There's also trading for future draft picks. Keeps it a little bit NBA/MLB-ish, with teams that are out of playoff contention unloading talent for future draft picks. I'm in a couple of Keeper leagues. Imagine the chaos and clamor to get into the #1 overall spot when a guy like Saquon Barkley is in the draft. Everybody wants to get that rookie that they can have and keep for years and years. And then another thing that you need to decide on is going to be your roster layout. Traditionally, you're going to have a 15-man roster, and then the starting lineup is going to be 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 1 flex, defense and special teams, and a kicker. Having a 15-player roster allows you to have at least 1 backup at each of the 4 main positions and 2 more for your choosing. 15 players times 12 teams equals let's just say it leaves a healthy level of waiver wire talent. So you can always drop guys, pick up guys, and find something that's actually worth playing on the waiver wire. Now, 2 quarterback, aka super flex leagues, are where you've got a flex position that is sometimes labeled as offensive player, which means everybody pretty much runs a quarterback in there. But just in case they've poorly managed their team and can't find an option at quarterback because somebody's taken all of them, it allows them to play any other skill position in there in a pinch. So for example, in a 12-team league, each team has 2 quarterbacks starting each week. That's 24 guys spoken for, and there's only 32 starting quarterbacks altogether. And somebody, you just know somebody's going to be that guy, and they're going to roster 4 quarterbacks. So at least a few teams are going to be without a bye week quarterback placement. These are really fun leagues and becoming increasingly popular because it makes the quarterback position just that much more important, like they actually are in the game of football. And then another option for your roster is to have an IDP, an individual defensive player. I've been in a league with 1 IDP, with 2 IDPs. It's an opportunity to add a linebacker or a defensive back. I've never really been in one unless it has 3 defensive players, have a defensive lineman, and that's basically just for shits and gigs. It's usually only 2 to 5 points each week, but it adds some strategy that really could be the difference. If you do decide to have a defensive player and you want to add defensive linemen, you're going to want to make sure that you adjust the scoring accordingly, because linebackers and defensive linemen are somewhat interchangeable as far as the edge rusher goes. So you're going to want to make sure that the scoring for sacks lines up with guys that are linebackers that are not edge rushers, so off the ball linebackers. And then an underrated but crucial part of, laying out your whole roster is making sure that you name your league and name your team. Name your league something that the members can connect with, something that has to do with work or school or their fandom, etc. Whatever is bringing you guys all together. Encourage team names also by just setting the precedent. Make sure that you've got a nice, clever team name. If you want to be a dictator and require a team name, by all means, go ahead. But better name names will be chosen by guys that want to keep pace with everybody else, naming theirs something clever and something relevant to the upcoming season. I always, personally, I'm a little bit OCD. I'm not going to name my team after a player that's not actually on my roster. I mentioned in one of my last videos that Carry On My Wayward Son was one of my championship rosters last year. Carry On got hurt. I felt like it was a bad omen to cut him after his season was over, and I needed that roster spot. But like I said, I went ahead, kept him on the roster all year because I felt like it was bad juju to let him go after we had done so well with him on the roster and with team name. And I ended up keeping him all the way until the championship, where I won the league altogether.
It's like a fantasy, football fantasy.
And then you're going to want to make sure that you guys go ahead and establish some good league rules. I recommend opening the league as a democracy and then set the rules in stone for the year. Then after the first season, you might want to close that democracy up a little bit, because all that does is open room for people to whine and bitch and moan about things not going their way. Kind of like we have in real democracy here. Don't leave a window for changes to be made in season, or you're going to end up with a revolt on your hands. Keep it simple at first. Most leagues are run on default settings initially, so don't try to reinvent the wheel in your inaugural season. But early on, vote on things like roster format, bench size, scoring system. Are you gonna do PPR, non-PPR, maybe half-point PPR? I like half-point personally. Decide on the playoffs. Are you gonna have 10-team league, so you want a 4-team playoff? Or are you gonna have a 12-team league, so you want a 6-team playoff? Maybe you have bye weeks for the top seeds to allow more teams to actually make the playoffs. I recommend this if it's a new league or rookie players. You're gonna want to increase the playoff teams and give top seeds bye weeks. That way an 0-4 start doesn't destroy ownership and create bye weeks for championships based on the number of teams. But for the love of God, make the championship take place in week 16 and not week 17. And then make sure that you've got a clear-cut rule on trades. Are you gonna have a committee? I don't recommend a committee. Are you gonna have league voting? I don't really recommend league voting either. Are you gonna have it like the Wild Wild West and just allow people to submit trades and accept them and then they just go instantly through? Also, not recommended. Trade rapes are inevitable and will ruin a league. Don't allow anything off-site also to be traded. There's way too much freakiness that can go down with that. It's best to avoid any drama or collusion and just make this call yourself until a committee is requested or you feel necessary or overwhelmed. This is also where having a assistant commissioner comes in hand, because you guys could be just a 2-man committee and just streamline the whole process.
Like an end zone that ends in a waterfall.
A shower that showers you in tiny footballs.
Alright, and here's a pretty important one. Make sure you guys are playing for money. There's a ton of reasons why this makes sense. I'm going to list them off real quick. Guys, the leagues they last longer. People take it more seriously because the stakes are greater and the trash talk is trashier. But make sure that you set a deadline for collecting money as soon as possible based on the draft date. Week 2 or 3 is usually pretty safe time to give guys enough time to collect the money if they don't actually have it. Remind the league that there are going to be consequences for not paying multiple times leading into the draft, leading into week 1, and leading into that deadline that you set. If a team is not paid by that deadline, go ahead and tell them that they're going to be set negative 20 points for the first week, and then you can go ahead and increase the points whole each week. So if the deadline is week 3 and they don't pay, they're going to be negative points going into that week. If it's now week 4, they still haven't paid. Maybe week 4 you have a negative 40 points or negative 50 points whole. You'd be surprised though how quickly people will Venmo or PayPal, Cash App, all the money that they need when they're looking at a 20-point hole before the week even kicks off. Decide if you're going to be a dictator or not once again, and allow people to play after that Thursday night football game and before the early Sunday kickoff games. I kind of recommend giving them that extra couple of days of leeway. It gives them that chance to see that 20-point hole, then you allow them to get rid of that deficiency before Sunday kickoff. If you're going to have a money league, make sure that you post the payout once all of the money is collected, and don't change or waver from the amount, or you may have to pay out of pocket to maintain the trust of your league members. Also, when the season is over, please pay the winner by the Monday following the championship, if not Sunday night afterwards. Any longer and you look a little sketchy, like you're trying to scrounge up the money from overseas bank accounts or something, guys get anxious and they feel like getting money from fantasy football is too good to be true, and that anxiety just sort of ratchets up the passing hour. Alright, and now it's time to schedule your draft. Make sure you don't draft too early. It's hard to get everybody to fit a draft into their schedule at the same time, especially with the summertime and vacations and all that good stuff. But with the ability to draft from your phone and setting draft boards, there's really no excuses. Some of my best seasons have actually been with auto-drafted teams. Injuries, holdouts, and other random variables happen during the preseason, and they can destroy a season for one guy. And then also another key point for this is make sure you have a live draft. It's fun, good for longevity, good for trash talk. Live mocks can take place with phones and laptops. That's awesome and easy way to do it. In my experience with the manual draft boards, it's only fun if every single person is able to attend the live draft, because one person being on their phone means that you have to try and keep up with the live timer and entering it in as you go along. Anyways, it's just a lot more complicated. You can still do everything a lot faster and easier if you save your money on a draft board and just do it on your phone or laptop. And then this way, nobody needs to be the sticker bitch.
Commissioner of this league, not the sticker bitch.
For future drafts, you're going to want to make sure that you determine the order and have that set going into the year. If you want to avoid tanking, you can incentivize winning as the season goes on, and you can make sure that you set your draft order with 4th place through 10th or 12th being the top draft order, with 3rd, 2nd, and 1st closing out the first round of the upcoming draft. So that means the better you do, the higher draft pick you get, unless you are one of those top 3 teams, and maybe you incentivize those top 3 positions with 1st place, 2nd place, and 3rd place payouts. And then finally, we've got advanced, or some people would consider it overachieving, commissioning. And this is making sure that you've got a trophy for your league. You might want to ask for a little bit more money in the initial buy-in for the league so that you've got money to pay for a league trophy or championship belt. You're going to want to assign roles and responsibilities for finding one suitable for your league. Maybe you guys write quarterly recaps about what's taking place in the league. Maybe you hand out awards at the end of the league. Give somebody the best and worst team names. Give somebody the best and worst drafter. Waiver wire whore. And that's the guy that just is constantly churning his roster, but yet still not really getting anywhere. And then most of all, you just want to make sure that everybody has fun. This is all about having fun. The money is cool. It makes it so that at the end of the year, if you did in fact waste a ton of man hours and time scouring the waiver wire, looking at bye weeks, planning ahead, all that good stuff, you get a little bit of a payout. Buy yourself a nice jersey or something, or a nice night out on the town with an earnings at the end of the year. This is nobody's real job, but if you like this or even learn something new, please hit that like button. Let me know if I should do a deeper dive on any of the topic I covered today, or you just want me to explain some of the pros and cons of each type of fantasy league, or if you just want to have any questions regarding anything, just throw them in the comments below. I will get to them. Thanks guys for watching, liking, commenting, subscribing. Make sure you join the Discord channel and jump into the fantasy football channel on my Discord, and let me know and fill out the questionnaire if you want to be a part of one of my fantasy football leagues this year. We're gonna have so much fun, guys. Promise you. Hit it up. Feel free to back out at any time, and I will see you all in the next video.